the blue chair, Mitchell Martin, hailing from Redwood City, California. Fun fact, he's 6'7" and played water polo at Arizona State. Now to the red chair, and we have Tyler Ingram, all the way from Dallas-Fort Worth. Fun fact, this is his first YCS. He's been only playing for a year. Let's see how this duel plays out. Casters?
All right, thank you, Jackie. We have two excellent duelists facing off in this first round. It's Mitchell Martin up against Tyler Ingram, as you mentioned. And you can see their decks there. We're going to have Fiendsmith Ryzeal taking on the new deck we're talking about, Tombkeeper Fiendsmith. That's right. It's going to be using those cards that are, you know, similar to cards you might see Odeon use from the original anime. You know, protecting what needs to be protected. A lot of cool cards like Anubis, the Last Judge, the Man with the Mark. We're going to have to see how it's going to play out here in round number one. You mentioned that was one of the biggest things. Another thing that came out was also the structure deck, Blue Eyes White Destiny. We're going to see some of that Blue Eyes action later on today, but we get to start the day off right off the bat with Maze of the Master.
I didn't expect this deck to be as popular as it's been getting going into this event. I know even going into YCS Vegas, the set was just released, and these cards were popular, and in my circle, we were even talking about the cards immediately as soon as they were announced, because we weren't expecting them, right? It was TCG exclusive archetype. And going into it, we saw the problems that these cards had, but we just couldn't figure out what it could do that was really benefiting it over some of the other strategies, so we kind of wrote it off for a little bit, and we were going to come back to it later, and it seems like a lot of players had the same thought, because it seems to be an up-and-comer for this event.
Definitely. It's a deck a lot of people have their eyes on. I know it did really well at a Philadelphia regional a few weeks ago, I think, and that might have put it on a lot of people's like maps. Like, oh, wait, this deck's actually viable in a competitive setting.
That's all it really takes, right? One person to do well, and all of a sudden it's on everyone's radar.
Yep, definitely. So we're going to have to see if it's going to have that similar success here this weekend. I'm really excited to see it in action here in round number one. Now, Tyler's opponent, Mitchell Martin, you may recognize the name. He is a veteran of the circuit scene. I think most recently we saw him in Top Cut of YCS Anaheim with Malice, the one that you also made Top Cut in as Solid.
Yeah, but that was he made top 8. Yeah.
Top 8, he did. Yeah, he did the farthest out of all the Malice. Just one more round further than you, sorry.
Okay.
But that was kind of like the pioneers, though. Y'all were like the first people to really try the Malice deck, and there was a lot of different variations that people were trying out that weekend.
Yeah, and the Malice has definitely been somewhat more solved since then. I mean, there's still definitely some experimentation going on, but as we're approaching toward the later end of the format here, a lot of decks seem solved, and the Tombkeeper strategy is the one that's really coming out that has basically brand new strategies happening here.
Yeah, it's definitely the one that everyone, there's a big question mark on. Like, we know people are trying it, but the question mark is will it succeed? I'm not going to, name the other duelists that are using this deck because I don't want to, give away their strategies, but there are some top-name duelists, multi-time YCS champions that are...
You're really thinning the field here.
I'm thinning the field a little, sorry, yeah. Maybe I'm narrowing it down too much, but I'm casting a net. There are some really good players who... Yeah, I'm not going to... I was about to narrow it down even more, but they're using it. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and jump into game number one. YCS Houston, it starts now. Let's go. I'm so excited to be here. So it's awesome to see Tombkeeper up against, a veteran player right off the bat. So we're really going to see the test of strength of this deck here right off.
A veteran strategy at this point in the format as well. Ryzeal Fiendsmith, one of the tried and true decks. Yeah.
Definitely. And it looks like Tyler did win the die roll, so that's pretty huge there for the Tombkeeper cards. They do prefer going first, as are a lot of strategies.
Yeah, but I think by a large margin, right? That's why one of the reasons I wrote off the strategy is I thought it was extremely potent going first. If you were able to go first with the deck and able to resolve Man with the Mark, I think there is the Anubis, the Last Judge, able to go ahead and search.
Yep, Anubis, the Last Judge, is able to discard to add probably, I'm going to guess, the Man with the Mark.
Yep, there it is.
I mean, that's exactly what's the only card you can add. No secrets here. The Man with the Mark, that's definitely not Odeon, is going to be summoned to the field.
Just any man, really. All right.
Yeah, it just happens to be a Man with the Mark, like, all those tattoos on the back. Oh, infinite impermanence on Man with the Mark. This is huge against this strategy.
Yeah, this was what we found to be a very common situation. You'd think a deck so focused on trap cards would have a lot of resiliency to those points of interaction from the hand, but no, actually, if you target down the Man with the Mark, he has a mark on him for a reason. Definitely. If he gets stopped, then things get a little dicey. But it looks like we have some extension here.
Yeah, Tyler being able to use the terraforming to still access the treasure of the Kings, which is considered Temple of the Kings while it's on the field, gains the name, means that he's really, showing that the Imperm didn't slow him down here by any means. So the Treasure of the King is going to allow him to set an Apophis trap from his deck. And it looks like he's going to get the brand new Apophis the Serpent. So Apophis the Serpent is a cool card that when you activate it, you're able to set another trap that would summon itself as a monster. But you can activate it that turn. So there's really, it's really cool in combination with some of the older Apophis trap cards that you're able to negate face-up cards equal to the other monsters that are treated as trap cards. The other trap cards that are treated as monsters on the field.
Yes. Not going all the way back to the original Apophis, but there was one in between there among all the years of Apophis history that does quite a potent effect.
All right, so you see the 2 set cards on his side of the field. That accesses the other effect of Treasure of the Kings to allow him to add the Merciless Circuit to the hand, and now he's going to be able to special summon that new Circuit monster from his hand by banishing a level 10 monster from the deck, and that is Anubis the Last Judge. And now he can use the Circuit effect to get Temple of the Kings. Temple of the Kings is an old card, but now is seeing play pretty much for the first time, but allows you to activate a trap card the turn it's set.
Which, I mean, that is essentially already like a forbidden effect, right?
Essentially. All right, now it looks like we're going to be sending Man with the Mark and the Merciless Circuit to the graveyard for a link summon for Moon of the Closed Heaven. Now we're going to be accessing the Fiendsmith side of the deck.
Everyone's favorite link too.
Oh, it's a good one. Being a light fiend is a perfect material for Fiendsmith Requiem. So this link 1 is going to tribute itself off the field to special summon a Fiendsmith monster from the deck. It's going to be Lacrima the Crimson Tears.
Let's see what Lacrima is going to be using its effect for in this situation. Will it be a Fiendsmith in Paradise, or will it just be a copy of Engraver? It looks like it's going to be a copy of Engraver, getting access to it, because we haven't had access to it so far.
Yeah, he's not done by any means. He still has the trap cards he can activate. He's going to summon back the Engraver by returning Moon to the extra deck.
We're trying to get some more responses out of Mitchell before he continues with his main engine here. Going to be using the effect of Requiem to attach itself to, it looks like, the Lacrima, and then we're going to be contact fusing with the Lacrima into that Necroquip Princess.
Yep, Necroquip Princess. Both the materials are all on one monster, so basically turning a level 4 into a level 6. So you're going to be able to go into the rank 6 DDD High Wave King Caesar. This will be able to stop in a card effect that special summons a monster. So now he has a little bit more protection from things like Nibiru, potentially be able to stop things on Mitchell's turn. But now, yeah, it's turn 1. How can you activate a trap? Thanks to Temple of the Kings, anything is possible.
Well, I think exactly one thing is possible. You can activate one trap card the turn set. But
anything is possible if you put your mind to it, Asala.
Okay.
I told you this back in Houston 10 years ago. Seems like you've forgotten. You have to believe in yourself. No. But yeah, so the new Apophis will let him activate the trap he just set immediately. Apophis, the Swamp Deity.
And this one is Aphosis, the Swamp Deity.
Yeah.
That's the one that can negate face-up cards. But you're like, oh no, why is he activating on his turn? These are trap monsters. They're supposed to go on their turn.
I haven't activated
he has not done any of that. Yeah.
Okay.
Whoops, revealing a little bit of information there.
Yeah, usually when you see something come from a hand, you think, oh, maybe Tactics is live, but specifically not Infinite Impermanence.
That's why Infinite Impermanence is so good.
Yeah.
One of the best cards in the game. But now we're going to see another contact fusion for Divine Serpent Apophis. You can summon it by just tributing 2 Apophis monsters, which he had turn 1. And it also has the effect you can target with 3 Apophis traps with different names and just set them.
May I just say ridiculous, by the way? Why does it say that?
It's essentially free. Because you need the traps for your opponent's turn, and you need them to summon him. So you get the traps right back to summon him, but you also has the bonus effect that once returned, if a trap card is activated, doesn't matter who activates it, it can target one card the opponent controls and destroy it.
I mean, that's how you make trap cards stronger. You make them proactive.
Yep, kind of like, it reminds me a lot of the field spell for Labyrinth. Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Giving the trap cards is basically an additional effect, and how strong that can be. Yeah, so he has a lot of interruptions here. He has the High Wave King Caesar. He has the destruction effect from the Apophis, and also the Swamp Deity, when it's activated, can negate at least one.
And he will have access
card.
to 2 of them, right? Because when he activates the old, the new one, it'll set another Swamp Deity as well.
Yep, exactly. It's a cool deck. Awesome to see in action.
We're going to be starting with the X Ryzeal, so that means Mitchell's going to be cut off from his Fiendsmith access.
All right, he's going straight after the High Wave King Caesar. High Wave King Caesar won't be able to negate that special summon because it's not summoned by an effect.
Couldn't really classify that kind of effect, could you?
Cannot.
And looks like we're going to be using the Lacrima here to summon back the Requiem.
More interaction.
And grab a Sword Ryzeal. Anything here?
Mitchell adds Sword Ryzeal to the hand. Oh, and Droll and Lockbird on top of everything else. That card's pretty good against Ryzeal.
Did I mention how strong this deck is at going first? Because I don't know if I mentioned it enough.
It's looking pretty strong. He has the Requiem he can tribute off to summon out a Lacrima that he just shuffled back to put the Fiendsmith in Paradise in the graveyard as well. So he has more disruption. That Droll might just be the icing on the cake that Tyler needed to win this game number 1 with Tombkeepers.
Now Mitchell is basically forced into going into Detonator. There's no other value here. Oh, but there is a tactics of his own to try and take here. I mean, he can negate that with the deity, right?
Yeah, this talent is legal to be activated, however.
Yes.
And yeah, it looks like he is going to. Well, he needed to. Oh yeah, so
it will resolve fine this way.
It works out this way too.
Yeah.
If he didn't already have it set and he had to set it with the Apotheosis, he would have done it differently. But since he already had it set, it works out just fine.
So deity will be able to summon itself and will resolve negating the triple tactics talents, and the other deity or the other swamp. Which one is he exactly?
The Apotheosis Swamp Deity is the
Apotheosis.
older one.
Apotheosis Serpent.
The Serpent is the new one. Yep.
Okay. That one will be able to set another swap deity, and then Mitchell will be conceding game number 1. He's seen enough. I think
he's not getting into that tomb. He can't get in. It is sealed shut. No way Tyler's letting him in. He is the Tombkeeper of round 1, game 1. He can't get in. That's cool. It's cool to see that deck in action. This is what I wanted. I wanted to see Tombkeeper. The cards are really cool.
The cards are incredibly strong. I think, I mean, yeah, they do a really good job. When they're able to resolve like this, it's not even close, right? It doesn't seem like your opponent can do much of anything. But
I mean, he's playing against a good player using the best, arguably the best deck in the room, like the number 1 deck people are looking out for.
And it's not like there were no interruptions either. There were some powerful cards there that are typical for the format Infinite Impermanence, Triple Tactics Talents, but they're just not nearly as strong against this matchup. Infinite Impermanence has that space, and like it was used correctly on the man with the mark, but if there's any way to extend past that point, then it just doesn't really accomplish anything.
Yeah, it can just be devastating. I mean, it's tough to, I assume that they're going to have something like Terraforming or way to keep playing, but yeah, just one Infinite Impermanence there wasn't enough. I do wonder if, like, maybe some of the back row removal, like Harvey's Feather Dust and stuff, will start making their way more into main decks because of how much of a presence the Tombkeeper cards from Maze of the Master have in the meta right now. They're for sure in the side decks. The beautiful Quarter Century Secret Rares out of the early day collection.
I mean, I think it's weird to say that those cards are even going to be reliable against a strategy like this, because when you look at it, the Swamp Deity is able to interrupt the Duster no matter what, right? Yeah. So I don't think if you will let them get to that point, it's
too late already.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough. How do you get into the tomb?
Go first.
Oh, you got to go first. All right, well, we're going to see if going first will make all the difference there for Mitchell Martin. But, yeah, it's tough. It's a good deck. It is definitely a contender. I think it's when you're constructing your side deck for any tournament, it has to be one of those top, 5 decks that you have on your radar.
Well, at least we have, after game 1 here, Mitchell has been able to see the entire turn play out. He knows what his interruptions are. He knows what his deck's able to do. You have to do a recon mission before you try to invade any tomb here. So
yeah, sometimes it doesn't work the first time. You're going to fall into the traps and not be able to get out. But we'll have to see if we can navigate his way through this maze and find a way to victory here in game number 2. He already knows that he's going to have to win going second in game 3 if he does manage to win game 2. See the duelists shake each other's hands. They're shuffled up side deck, and I think we're just about ready to dive right into it. I love the banner behind them. It's so nice. I love that SP Little Knight. It looks so cool. I mean, all of the arts look awesome. The Chaos Source on one side, SP Little Knight there. Lots of cool stuff made it onto that banner.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where there's so many cool things on it, you wonder about what didn't make it on, but, it's hard to get everything.
It's always about what's not there. Yeah. But let's go ahead and jump into it. It's game 2, YCS Houston. It's time to duel. We'll see if Mitchell Martin's going to be able to bounce back here against Tyler Ingram from Fort Worth, Texas.
This is the true test of the Tombkeeper strategy. Is it able to go second into these decks? This is what I couldn't really solve. But, I mean, that's what Fiendsmith cards are for. They're incredible at being able to push through fields. But we're starting with that Ice Ryzeal, the ideal start, but it's going to be immediately met with the Infinite Impermanence.
Not saving it for Duo Drive, so this either means he has more interactions or he's just saying, I hope your hand has nothing else in it.
It depends on, I think, how much you value the Fiendsmith line, right? Because if you're forcing your opponent to only do the Ryzeal part of their strategy, which is usually what happens when you negate an Ice Ryzeal, you're either banking on they don't have an extender, because there's sometimes just not, depending on how many Sword Ryzeals, or you're locked in to just Ryzeal effects.
Yeah, so it looks like it paid off huge here with letting the Infinite Impermanence rip. And just 3 spell and trap cards here from Mitchell.
I mean, 3 spells, like, you can kind of narrow down what they are, right? They have to be other copies of Infinite Impermanence. They have to be potentially
could be
copies
like
of
Strike or something sided in.
Yeah. It could be a called by as well. But
Oh! Enter battle phase. Activate evenly matched. Another card this deck can play that's... Oh, okay.
Wait, I was going to say, it couldn't possibly be cross out, right?
There's no way he'd cross out evenly, but he is calling Fiendsmith Engraver. He's future-proofing himself a little bit for this turn.
Why did he not cross out Imperm?
Maybe he doesn't have it in his deck.
He drew all of them?
Or it could be. He could have sided. Maybe that's what the one he's keeping. Maybe he sided one out, drew 2.
How could this happen, Billy?
How could this happen? I have seen the list using evenly matched in the main deck for Temple of the Kings. It could be a side deck card.
I mean, that's
here.
a really strong reason to use Infinite Impermanence on Ice Ryzeal, because if you're narrowing them down into just the Ryzeal side, then evenly matched does do a lot at dealing with everything except for the detonator, but you know you're not going to have to deal with something along the lines of Desiree.
Man, if I was Mitchell and I flipped that cross out, I would have waited a second before I said Infinite Impermanence just to make them like sweat like I'm calling evenly matched.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
Okay, we do see Ash on the Temple of the Treasures.
Treasures of the King.
The other one, you know, like
it still works. It is technically Temple of the Kings as well. Yeah.
Standby. Main.
But nothing else after that Ash Blossom. So a pair of interactions slowing each other down, but Mitchell draws in and nothing and passes. They always seem to top deck Ice Ryzeal against me, but not the case here for Mitchell in this turn. Plays back to Tyler.
He's
has the
Engraver.
Engraver.
Oh, he might have been.
He
might have been in the hand the whole time. Yeah.
The cross out, the future proofing from the cross out was huge. Now we know that whatever spell and trap that Mitchell has, he picked to keep it, so it's some form of interaction.
It has to be someone useful. Okay, there's a Droll.
That's a good card to Droll. He's adding Fiendsmith's Track to his hand. He's not going to be able to activate it. A lot of the Temple of the Kings cards are all about adding.
Yeah, okay. You can't activate the tracks because of the Droll and Lockbird. Now, perhaps you've had some of those Apophis monsters set to your spell and trap zone that you can now activate if you want to just put bodies on the field. Go into your fusion monster, and looks like that's exactly what's going to be happening.
It's Apophis
of the Serpent, which is going to go ahead and set the Snake Deity.
Yeah, so he genuinely had to wait to be able to activate this because he didn't have the Temple of the Kings.
Yeah.
But now that the proper time has passed, as you normally have to wait for trap cards.
Which means he had the answer for an Ice Ryzeal as well.
Yeah, the things that this deck can do are fantastic. Will the Tombkeeper cards take down what is labeled as the best deck in the room?
It looks like he's just going to declare an attack here, not take any risks.
So he doesn't want to risk like going into the Swamp Deity, maybe getting hit with Infinite Permanence and losing the negate. Because the Infinite Permanence won't stop him from using the negate on the one card that Mitchell's drawing.
Standby main.
There's a lot of nuances to this deck I think players will figure out as they're playing.
I think Tyler is just making the assumption that Mitchell sided down to one copy of Infinite Impermanence and he drew it, so he couldn't cross it out. And that's what that last set has to be.
Crazy. So yeah, he had to have sided them out, yeah. Now he draws, takes a sigh, pass. Oh, tough luck here for Mitchell in game number 2.
All right, Tyler in the driver's seat here. Will he be able to make that push on this turn?
He's not under draw anymore. The Treasure of the Kings is once per turn, so he's going to be able to continue to access the man with the mark. There it is.
Is there a second copy of Droll and Lockbird?
That he just ripped off the top? That would be unfortunate for him, but
yeah, I mean, like,
you can only hold him off for so long.
And there is the Fiendsmith track from last turn. At this point, you have to assume Tyler's just going to try to set up the Desiree as soon as he can, and then everything else will just kind of figure itself out.
Yeah, at this point, if I'm Mitchell, I'm thinking I don't need to get tilted after losing round 1. I got to think focus.
It's been historically possible in Houston to lose your first round and be fine.
The Sol's origin story unlocked. All right, Fabled Lurie is going to be linked away.
When are we going to rechange his name to Fiendsmith Lurie?
Might as well at this point, really.
Oh, very good. Gotcha. Sorry.
Yep, so Lurie added from hand and then immediately discarded for the effect of Fiendsmith Track, able to summon itself from its own effect, link away into the Requiem.
Requiem tributes itself off, special summons Lacrima of the Crimson Tears from the deck. That'll let him send a Fiendsmith. And yeah,
and then Mitchell's just going to concede, yeah.
This was not a good game for Mitchell. Did not draw well. Anytime he had anything, it was the infinite impermanence that he had set. We were able to see it from our angle. We got a little wider view, but big congratulations to Tyler Ingram here, winning round 1 of YCS Houston with the Tombkeeper strategy against a veteran player playing the deck that everyone is trying to beat this week.